Hello, welcome. Got a little job today on this. Yeah, this is my 1985 Renault 5 GT Turbo. Highly modified. I've had it for a good number of years now, and yeah, it's been absolutely smashing reliable until recently, where it broke down. And I didn't have one of these. It's a towing eye. To tell you the truth, I do have a towing eye, but it's buried behind the front bumper and behind the intercooler. You'll not be able to see it, but it just means while I'm waiting for the AA, off comes the bumper, and yeah, to take the intercooler off as well in the rain, and then that's if the AA turn up. So the plan is to get this to fit onto that. So what we'll do is I'll show you the plan, and the plan is just behind there, and you probably just see there's a triangular piece of metal that's part of the subframe. So I think what we'll do is we'll get the bumper off, and then we'll have a look and see if we can get a nut of some sorts to the behind it so I can weld onto it, and then we should be able to attach the towing eye just like a modern car. Right, front bumper's off, and you can now see the issue I've got. So obviously the intercooler, and then just under here, there, that's the towing eye. So it's basically behind the intercooler. Yes, I could get a smaller intercooler, but everything works just fine the way it is. But you can see this is this bit of material here, metal, that hopefully should be strong enough, which I think it is, because part of the subframe. So I should be able to hopefully just get a nut welded to the back of that, or somehow at least tacked in, drill a hole, and then I can grab this towing eye, pop a hole through the bumper, and then I should be able to just screw that in as when I need it. This has come off my daughter's Fiat 500. Hope she doesn't need it. And there's the nut I'm hoping to weld to the back of here, so hopefully you'll be able to see. We should be able to just tack something just on there. Yeah, that should work quite well. Downside is going to be just having to chop a small cut out in the mesh of the bumper, but that's no real issue, because you know I'll probably need towing a few times, quite a few times. Okay, let's get to it. Just looking at this, looks to be about M16. In fact, I think that's what these nuts are. I think they're M16 by 2. Oh, let's see if I can get that. Excuse the shonky camera work. Yeah, M16 by 2. Okay. And I've got definitely options here. I don't know whether to reinforce the back of this plate or not. I think it should be okay. Yeah, we'll see. But anyway, the first things first. I think I just need to get a 16mm diameter hole through there, and then we can see what it looks like. Don't you just hate it when you get bits of garage in your cup of tea. Don't fancy drinking that now. Do with a new drill. Oh, the battery's dead. It always pays to pay a few quid extra to get something half decent. I think I'm just going to get the tornite. Perfect. But as you can possibly see, there isn't a huge amount of material left on there, so I think it may be that I do put something, just tack a bit of a plate behind there, just in case this sort of rips through. I know some of you will be saying, what, you're just going to put the one nut on the back of that? That might not be enough. Well, I think you're absolutely right. I think what I'll do is, I'll probably have two together, I'm sure. I've got another one here. Ah, yes, there we go. Look at that. Oh, I could have 3, 4. Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll probably just push 2 together. I just tack a couple together, yeah, maybe one on top. Like so, yeah, just join them up, just that just gives it an extra depth. Yeah, I think that should okay, but I'll just double check. See, I'm gonna make sure I've got the clearance behind there. Oh yes, I think I have, yeah. Yeah, that's it there, you can see there. So that's how it's gonna go. And there's enough in there, so yeah. Okay, well, we'll see if we can get that put together. You can see here as well that, yeah, that's the length of the thread on the towing eye. So I think, yeah, two is the right thing to do. Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll set them evenly, and we'll probably just tack them together before I mount them to the back of the subframe. I've been busy, and I've been doing a bit of grinding and drilling, and I've now got this sort of plate. Just a lot. But essentially what we're hoping to do is I'm going to just line that up there. There should be somewhere there. I might have to just adjust a bit. But the idea is, yeah, that I can then get some weld all the way around it, sort of here and along the top, tack it a little bit in them, and then onto the bottom there. It's not pretty, but the idea is just to try and brace this bit of thinner material, although it's probably about 3mm, but I mean this is a good 5mm at least. So on top, I mean that should be plenty there to keep it intact. And then, as I say, I can hopefully get a couple of the nuts on the back. Okay, might be time to start welding. Right, I'm going to do just a bit of a check on this. Let's see if I can swing you around. So obviously there you can see the hole. So I've got this plate there now, so that's going to go on there, and then what I can do is I can just pull that nut back there, screw that onto there, you get the idea, and then you can see there's a good few places now to tack that plate on, so I can tack it along there, down there as well, and maybe I'll put a blob in the middle there, just where that hole is. So that should, as I say, give a bit of reinforcement actually onto this triangular section. Okay, you see, safety first. I've just been setting a few things up. I've got him out. Brilliant. Yeah, excellent bit of kit these. If anybody needs a decent welder, there you go. One of them. None of this cheap Chinese crap. They just don't last. This is just done all sorts, and I mean it's actually welded up this. And then actually another video I might show you a little bit more on that. And it's also done another car, so it's yeah, it's grafted for its living. Okay, back onto this. You can see here the plan is there's that there. You'll see plates on. I've ground this back a bit more, and I've actually attached this nut to the front here up to the maximum of the thread on the tone eye, and essentially what it's allowed to do is I put another one on the back, and you can hold this plate with it from makeshift clamp really. I'm probably going to keep this idea actually. What I'll do is I'll probably cut one of these nuts in half and then weld it to the front of this plate, and then the reason being is there's just not quite enough thread on the back to get full location on the rear nut. I mean, I could get this sort of something. I haven't actually got a big enough tap and die set that'll do that size, so because I could have, you know, just wound some more threads into there. But I think that this idea is probably not a bad idea. You know, just a nut on the front and on the back. But we'll see. But yeah, now we're gonna dial him in and see if we've got some decent threads. Decent welds. Let's see. More work. You can see here now. So we've got it welded up. So I've welded it to here. We've obviously got a good spot blob in there, and then around the side there. And then you might not be able to see, but around the back, the nut's welded as well. So you might not be able to actually see that. But anyway, take my word for it. So what I've now done is exactly what I've said is I've cut a nut in half, and I'm going to just tack that to the front of this plate, and then that means this is located into here first, and then I've obviously got the full thread going into the nut at the back as well. So essentially that acts as a nice guide actually as it goes in, and it reinforces the thread. So yeah, okay, so let's get that tacked on, and I'll go back and I'll show you when it's done. It's nearly done, and I'm happy to say that my welding is about as atrocious as it's ever going to get, but it's strong. Right, I'm just going to give that a coat of primer and some black paint, and then we can test it. Okay, so I've had to tidy up. I'm sick of getting 1980s metal shards in my knees when I bend down. But as you can see here, we're done. So that there now, we'll just screw into there. I mean, look, it's like factory. Yeah, really pleased with that. Bit of black paint hides a multitude of sins. But we're not fully done yet, so I think what I'll do is I'll get the front bumper on. Well, intercooler, yeah, we're going to put the intercooler on, put the front bumper on, and then it's just finding the appropriate position somewhere in here, just to chop out discreetly as possible the access hole for the towing eye to run through. So I'll crack on with that now. Right, well, that's the intercooler on. So there we are, there she is, still there. So put the hose clamps on. Oh, it's almost been rubbing there. I haven't showed you putting the hose clamps on. I mean, that's just very boring to watch. Okay, so now I'm just going to get that bumper on, and then we can do a measure up of the hole. The bumper's on. It was actually a bit of a pig for some reason. Couldn't quite get the bolt in on one side, but anyway, we're on. So now the task is, you can just about see our friend that we need to pop our towing eye into. I'm thinking, without being ridiculously clever and trying to measure things, what I'll do is I'll use this and try and guess the hole location. And I'm thinking, could it be there? Does that look straight? Probably doesn't on camera. Yeah. I think it's going to be in and around there, when bearing in mind I've got to chop a couple of these out to get the actual towing eye in, because it's quite thick. But I think it's going to be this fella here, and maybe somewhere around here, but it's going to be one or two of them. But I think where it sits, between there, yeah, and the one below it. Okay, so I think let's just get this chopped out. Okay, we've committed, and I've got a hole in my grill. You can see there. Oh, it's quite neat, isn't it? It's not too bad. Elongated it ever so slightly because, there's a little bit of movement probably needed, but I think now this is the moment of truth. Ooh. I mean, look at that. That's absolutely perfect. Yeah, I think Mr. A-Man will be pleased with that. I just hope he doesn't get to test it. Anyway, find a look. Yeah, I'm very happy with that. I think that's absolutely brilliant, and yeah, and we'll keep that in the glove box. Okay, well, thank you very much for watching this, if you've been slightly interested at all. I wouldn't mind a like and a subscribe, like what they all ask for. I'll be doing a few more of these videos on, obviously back on that. We're doing this one here, which I'll show you a bit more about. So this is currently being rebuilt, and I've actually I've done lots of work down this side, but the opposite side as well, needing quite a bit of work. So thank you very much. See you soon. Bye bye.